Hello, hello, what's up? I thought I might try to talk to talk in a British English kind of way, so to be more understandable. Understandable. I don't know if this is a Cockney or just an English accent, but anyway. Yes, I will. What I wanted to talk about was, yeah, these things that what Mr. Varg Vikernes talked about is how people in Europe are the Muslim people in Europe who are originally European are neglecting, or that is how I perceive it, that they are neglecting their European identity. Uh, yes, maybe I should try speaking Scottish. Yeah, like man, I agree to an extent, but yeah, it's the big paradox about those two things, being a Muslim and being European, is that the Islam as a religion is not European. It's from the Middle East, and the culture there is pretty much different from the European culture. And yeah, the culture there is pretty. It is therefore also a cultural thing. I mean, that religion is not just, it's not just a religion, it's a way of life also. It is all interwoven in, in the Islamic faith. This with like fasting and that how you say it, circumcision and all that, not eating pork. That's a part of the cultural thing, the of that region, because pork, I think it was avoided because it was not because of some certain religious beliefs, but I think because of that it wasn't really healthy to eat in such warm climate, such very powerful meat full of fat, yes, and circumcision is, yeah, certainly a Middle Eastern thing. It's not. It, some say it used to be practiced in Europe, but I don't think so. Perhaps maybe in certain Christian countries where they want it to be, in everything like those whom the Christianity originated, and that's the Jews, of course. So I return to my original accent, English accent. So yeah, so it's pretty, un-European, actually, you might say, to be a Muslim in that way. Anyway, if we are talking about your typical European culture, it's pretty radically different, I would say, from the typical Muslim culture, where women are, wearing this headdress, always supposed to be covered, and men are drinking. In Europe, even in Bosnia. Okay, I'm from Bosnia, and all the Muslims in Bosnia, all those I know, drink alcohol because they are Europeans. In Europe, that's a normal thing, and the same goes for Turkey, because the Turks are not originally from the Middle East, so they don't have it, in their own original culture. That's why their women dress like European and Western women, pretty much. Younger ones do anyway. And they also drink, and yeah, and it's very Arab thing. This Islam is very very Arab religion. For instance, Buddhism is well, it originated in India, but it's not a very very Indian religion, I think, anyway. For instance, because it has been so accepted by the Chinese, Japanese, all the others in Eastern Asia. So yeah. Anyway, that's always been kind of a problem, in countries like mine. It's kind of because the Muslims, the Bosniaks, as they are called there, and in Serbia also, they don't differ ethnically from the others, and so, but this makes them, stand out because it's a really different. I mean, not really, but a different religion, and it, it takes, uh, living in a little different way if you are a practicing Muslim anyway. Not all, especially before the war, many were not, many Muslims in Bosnia were non-practicing, non-religious because of the socialism, and everybody was, encouraged to, cast away that made us all different from each other. So, but now after the war, it's been really much different. The opposite, because the Muslims were killed, so many of them in the war, and so they started to, some of them, I think many of them started to become more religious out of spite, almost, out of, some kind of, like, all right, you are going to exterminate us. Now we are going to be, bigger Muslims than ever, bigger, more religious, than ever. So that's what happens today. You have like quite many people, even younger ones, who are really, into this thing. They adhere kind of, Islam rule. They live by it, But, well, not everyone. They try. Some of them, I think, try to present themselves as really hardline Muslims, but at the same time they frequent nightclubs, discotheques. They sleep with different women, even when they are married. Sometimes they drink alcohol also, at least occasionally. The only thing they don't do is eat pork. And they think, okay, I don't eat pork. I can be a Muslim. I'm a good Muslim. So, but they dress, really distinctively Western style. And they listen to rap music and all that stuff, or even pop rock from USA and England, or disco, like DJ music, and that is really kind of the opposite of what I really of what a true Muslim is supposed to listen to. It's really the opposite. The kind of music that kind of represents the wild life. The very kind of opposite kind of life that Quran is teaching and representing. It's like staying up late, having a really active sex life and all that stuff. It's a paradox, it is, and I guess it's the same when it comes to the young people from Muslim countries who are born and raised in Europe. They are at the same time as being Muslims and going to the mosque and all that. They go out and go to nightclubs and hook up with local women, non-Muslim women, and European women who like a wild ride. So, very few are actually really, really hardline Muslim today, I'd say. But the worst thing is that they get very defensive if a non-Muslim criticizes something about someone. It doesn't have to be, their religion, but even sometimes, in some cases, if you criticize some extremists, among them, they can get pretty defensive, and then they start, that kind of rhetoric. Yeah, but what did, England and USA and France did do to us and stuff like that? So it's kind of sad, because it creates like a wedge. It drives a wedge right between them and their European Christian, let's say, friends. So that's really something that kind of makes it more complicated. These relations, Yeah.